you were never an entrepreneur to begin with. If market changes and other changes is what's driving you out of this. No, you were someone that saw an opportunity where you really didn't have to do much of anything. You just had to exist.
This is Secrets for Success.
Welcome to the Secrets for Success podcast. I'm your host, Greg Todd. Thank you as always for joining me. If you are watching me on YouTube, you realize that it's probably very clear. Maybe I won't even put out the YouTube video, but there's a good message here, and I want to share that message with you guys. And I want to play you a video first. And it's a video by Gary Vaynerchuk that I recently saw. I think it's extremely powerful, and it talks about wannabe entrepreneurs. So listen to this video, and then I'll come back.
If you're an entrepreneur and you're crying about the current state of the market, you're not an entrepreneur. You exposed a truth that I'm glad you learned early on. You are not an entrepreneur. You're a 2-cent wannabe entrepreneur. If I've signed up for entrepreneurship, I must be prepared for entrepreneurship to kill me.
That's hardcore.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because you can't be in love with a game for what it gave you and then change how you feel about that game if it might hurt you.
Then you were never in love with the game.
Correct.
Right.
You were in love with the things you thought you could get out of the game.
Right.
Or you were a lesser of a version of a player in that game than you thought you were. Your timing was good for your skill set.
All right, so, I think this is extremely important because right now we are in a time where the economy might not be very favorable to people, and I have never seen an exodus of people dropping out of entrepreneurship as I have seen over the last maybe 8 to 10 months. And to me, it's a thinning of the herd, and it is very clear that the people that were claiming that they were entrepreneurs were actually wannapreneurs. And a wannapreneur is someone that wants all the perks that come with potential successful entrepreneurship, but they do not want to play in the game. They don't want to pay the price of admission to what it truly takes to be an entrepreneur. And they're wannapreneurs. And I don't know if that's you. I mean, you might be one, okay? But I think that's where a lot of people stand, because people are they're exiting stage left like I've never seen, because the market is making things to where they actually have to think. The market is making it to where they might have to pony up a little bit more. The market is making it to where they might have to actually reinvent or change themselves. You were never an entrepreneur to begin with. If market changes and other changes is what's driving you out of this. No, you were someone that saw an opportunity where you really didn't have to do much of anything. You just had to exist. And it could basically give you some of the perks of entrepreneurship. What are the perks that everybody wants to make more money. Everybody wants to potentially do it in less time. Everybody wants to be able to have vacations paid for by the company that they work for, if it's possible. Everybody wants that. But not everybody wants to pony up money when things aren't going so well. Not everybody wants to have to reinvent everything that they're doing, because the way that they were doing it before is no longer desirable for their market or to the marketplace. Everybody wants that. Everybody wants that. But people don't like the other stuff. Here, I'm going to share some information with you guys. It's just the truth. I have 5 businesses. In the last 12 months, I've had 2 businesses that I have had to infuse combined $100,000 in the businesses to keep the businesses going as I retool and revamp and reshape the business. Those 2 businesses have not been able to pay me a salary. So here it is. that I am not getting a salary from these two, okay? And I'm not only not getting a salary, but I'm having to infuse money into the businesses to keep the businesses running, okay? Now, I'll tell you this, one of the businesses, I had to do that last year. This year, it's having a record year. A record year, I mean, and the business has been in business for a very long time. It's having a record year. And it's starting to pay me back all my money. And I'm taking some of that money and I'm now putting it to another business that needs some TLC right now as we recenter and make some changes because of different market conditions. That's it. And I'm sure that that business is going to do phenomenal in the near future, but right now it's not. And you know what? As an entrepreneur, I understand and I've taken on the identity of truly being an entrepreneur. And an entrepreneur is someone who owns a business, operates a business, and is willing to do so at a financial risk. And to be honest with you, a very high financial risk. Now, entrepreneurs also understand that it's in their best interest to minimize their downside while maximizing their upside. But as the businesses get bigger, minimizing your downside could mean that you're having to infuse a couple $100,000 into the business to keep the business going at times. And there's also times where you could take out a couple $100,000 every couple months and buy homes and build other assets and and all that other stuff. So it's just interesting because I'm just thinking like my son and I were talking about this. I've been able to one of my kids is still homeschooled, and we've been able to do some amazing things together. Things that I could never do had I not been an entrepreneur, right? And so what are the things we've been able to do together? My son and I have traveled to, I think is it 7 or 8 different cities. We've gone to 11 different NBA games and basically traveled and seen all these different, he's a huge NBA fan, I'm a huge NBA fan, but we've been able to do that together while we've been on the road and I've been homeschooling him and I'm trying to mix it with business and pleasure, but oh my goodness, what job am I ever going to be able to do that in? Okay, but at the same time, if it's like, hey, this is what you can do with your kids, well, great, but what happens when things get a little testy? What happens when the offers and the things that you're bringing to the marketplace are no longer, what the marketplace wants? Right? Well, there might be a time as you're doing that transition that you're having to pony up some money and keep it going. You guys follow me? Like, this is entrepreneurship. And if you only want the time freedom and the financial freedom, but you're not willing to put up the financial risk and the time risk, then you're not an entrepreneur. You're not. You're someone that wants all the perks, but you're not willing to put up the sacrifices. That's fine. And by the way, that's fine. That is, no judging. It's just becoming aware of who are you. Becoming aware of who you are and not doing something because it's a trendy thing to do. Or not doing something because people have been only showing you the perks of it and not the other side of it. Doing something and understanding the good, the bad, the ugly. No different than marriage, no different than having a regular job, no different than, moving to a new city. There's good and bad, there's pros and cons that come with everything, and just know who you are. Just know who you are. So anyways, I just thought that was important because I think many of us need to just, you really need to have a good understanding of who you are and what makes the most sense for you. And not do entrepreneurship because other people are doing entrepreneurship. Understand that there is a huge amount of risk that goes into it. Yes, you could minimize your downside, but it's still huge risk. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing when the market changes? Are you so fixated on your way and my way is only, you cannot be a successful entrepreneur if the way you do things is the way you'll always do things. You're not going to last. I can tell you that. You're not going to. You're not going to last. It's not going to happen. So, just be honest with yourself. Maybe this is not your jam, but maybe it is. Personally, I can tell you this. I can tell you that right now, I believe that the real entrepreneurs that are adapting and changing to the market, I believe those people are going to have probably, some of them are having some of the most fruitful times ever in their entrepreneurial journeys, in their entrepreneurial careers. They're having so much fruit, or they are about to have a lot of fruit because so many people are leaving the entrepreneurial game. They are capturing so much of the market. Now, they might not be making a ton of money, and I even feel that with like SSHC. I feel like right now, I'm not making the biggest money I've ever made in SSHC, right? But I am capturing so much people's attention because there are so many consultants and coaches and people in this space that are like, money's dried up, I'm out. They were never in it for the right reasons. They were never, and by the way, right reasons, wrong reasons, who cares what the reasons are? They were never entrepreneurs. They were just people that are like, this is easy money right now, let me go for that. And now things are a little bit tricky, a little bit more difficult. I don't even know if I can say difficult. Just you have to do things different. Well, I don't want to do nothing different, bro. You were a, I don't want to say a fraud, but you were a entrepreneur. That's it. You're a entrepreneur, and that's fine. Go back to a job. Okay, and that's fine. Anyways, just things I'm observing. Thank you, Gary Vee, for that video. I ask you guys from this, ask yourself, who are you? And accept it. Love you guys. Till next time.